Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to our weekly Family Connections. This is our 5 o'clock show. We are here today with a couple of panelists. We have our athletic director, Coach Wes Wood, that is with us, and our public information officer, Valerie Morris. I'm Rachel McLean, the assistant superintendent of learning and innovation. And although we normally talk about academic topics, today we are going to be talking all about athletics and summer athletics. So Coach Wood was gracious enough to join us this week. So Coach Wood, we're still in the thick of it in several of our sports. It's very, and so what's happening right now with some sports that's still underway?
We actually can everybody hear me? Hopefully. So we actually just got done running our state track meet this last weekend. We took 2 kids down there and they competed very well. And we're still going in softball and we're still going in baseball. Our softball team, they just won the area round. They defeated let's see here. They defeated Greenwood and now they'll be playing Seminole. So they play a 3-game series. They'll play this Thursday and Saturday. Our baseball team, they defeated Dumas in the by-district round. They won those first 2 games and they were able to secure the by-district championship, move on to the area round. We're going to be playing in Pecos this Thursday and Friday, 3-game series against El Paso Riverside. And then everybody else should be in off season right now.
Okay, well, that's very exciting. We're super proud of our students and those athletes, and they're doing really well, and the coaches. So we want to celebrate their accomplishments. So we've got questions that have been submitted from our parents and our adults, and then as we have quite a few people online with us today, if you have questions as we're going through, pop those questions in the chat or the Q&A feature with the on the webinar, and we will try to answer as many of those questions online as possible. Well, you're not going to get away without answering some academic questions. So tell me why it is so important for our students to be involved in extracurricular.
Absolutely. Athletics for me, obviously athletics, but any extracurricular I think is absolutely crucial for most of our kids to be involved in. There's some kids who aren't involved in any extracurriculars and they got really good families at home that keep them on track. But I'm a firm believer that, it's huge for all of our kids to have something that keeps them motivated, keeps them involved. The no play rule for athletics and all extracurriculars, that really it comes into effect and helps those kids. It helps those kids make sure that they're taking care of their business in the classroom and they've got something more than just a pass-fail grade. They're not able to participate if they do fail. And so along with that, they've got coaches who are oftentimes, father figures, mother figures, mentors that are constantly, on them about their grades. We do grade checks. We'll do study halls with those kids. We're constantly checking those grades, emailing back and forth. We talked about in the last session, a lot of times the teachers will email the coaches first if they're having any problems in the classroom with behavior or with grades, and sometimes that scares some of the kids more than anything else. And so I think that's a little scary for some of them, but for the most part, I think it helps keep those kids in line, and it helps motivate those kids, just knowing that they have a lot of people that care about them and a lot of people that are counting on them. And if they do end up not taking care of their business in the classroom, they're not just hurting themselves, they're also hurting their teammates, their family, their program. And so it's just a huge advantage, I think, to be involved. It helps keeps the kids motivated, and traditionally you usually see better grades when kids are involved.
Yes. Well, we're a big supporter of athletics and appreciate all that you and your staff do to help keep our students engaged. And it makes such a good, enriching experience for high school. And then as a parent of a student that has gone on to college, multiple students that have gone on to college, it's big. It's team sports are great for job interviews and college applications. So it's a big part of our students' lives. So let's talk about summer. So we get out of school June 11th. It's going to be a really short summer.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and you guys have an action-packed agenda. So what are the schedules for summer workouts to start with? It's a big parent question.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of jump start into that conversation with a little bit of help that Valerie's been giving me. So if you will go to our school website, snyderisd.net, there is actually a catch-all place. You can go to snyderisd.net/athletics, and if you will go there, they'll post that in the chat panelist so you guys can find it. And there I know there's a lot of platform. I know you guys are constantly having to communicate through email. You're constantly having to communicate through Parent Square. Your kids are on a lot of different educational platforms that they have to turn in grades on, and then we communicate athletically through Sports Use. So I know that there's a lot going on and a lot of places to check where you're getting that information from. But on that site, there's also SnyderISD.net/athletics where you can find it, and SnyderISD.net/summer where you can also find it. And it will take you to the place where you can see things that are going on academically and athletically. Our athletic calendars are shared in there. Our boys side, okay, the way that we structure things, we will do Monday through Thursday workouts. The UIL does allow for us to go Monday through Friday without any dead dates from the UIL, but we'll go Monday through Thursday. We want to give the kids a little bit more of a break from us, but those workouts are usually in the morning. They're going to be about 8:30. The girls side does something very, very similar. Coach Ike sets up a very similar situation. They may end up going Monday through Friday on some weeks, but you'll be able to find those calendars. You'll be able to find what summer camps you can get your young Tigers involved in. If you want some of those dates, those are on there. I'm just going to rattle them off really quickly. When you're looking at June 14th through 17th week, you're looking at softball, tennis, and baseball camp. When you're looking at June 21st through 24th, you're looking at golf and volleyball camp. We got a one-day high school basketball camp on the June 28th date. We'll have a couple coaching clinics where coaches will be gone, and then girls soccer camp July 19th through 22nd week, and then Little Tiger football and girls basketball camp for the youngsters, and that'll be July 26th through 29th. So again, you can find those on the website, but those are the dates that we're going to be having those camps. And then another thing that I have a lot of parents ask about is is it mandatory, and what kids can attend, things of that nature. So I'll kind of dive into that a little bit. Summer workouts are not mandatory. We want your kids to enjoy a summer. Okay. We want them to be able to go on vacation. In those calendars, you're going to see dates that are already built in where we have coaching clinics and things of that nature. There's a week attached to the July 4th week, July 2nd, all the way through July 11th. We don't have anything. So those would be great times to schedule some of those vacations if you haven't already done so. And then even if you are scheduling some, when we do have scheduled workouts, it's the summer. It's not mandatory. We want you to be able to do a couple things. But if you're in town, we want you to be able to attend and not lose all the progress we've made, year in, year out. And then as far as age groups, anybody that's coming into 7th grade and going into 12th grade, all the way in between there, that's attending Snyder ISD is allowed to, that's in extracurriculars. Okay. They're allowed to attend our summer workouts. The only thing that kind of is a little bit, the only thing that's a hurdle that we have to make sure that we cover, okay, a base that we have to make sure we cover is we got to make sure that we have a physical for those kids in order for them to participate in something physically. Okay. And so most of our athletes, we'll dive into physicals here in a little bit, I'm sure, but most of those athletes already have their physicals, so they'll be good to go all the way up and through this point. And then if you're a move-in, you're going to be coming into this district, or you have a cousin or something, just get a hold of me, email me or text me. A lot of the times we'll end up dealing with the kind of a gray situation with the new kid or a cousin of a kid or something. Depending on the age, we'll work out that situation and kind of handle that on an individual basis on whether or not that kid can come to summer workouts.
So like we talked a little bit earlier today, if a student is involved in any extracurricular, so like even band, I think was the example you used earlier, they can attend those summer workouts. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So just as long as they have a physical. So like band, any physical extracurricular, or like band, marching band, you have to have a physical. Cheerleading, you have to have a physical. So if they have those physicals, pretty much that clears our bases to say, hey, the kid doesn't have something crazy going on where we aren't aware of the medical situation, and they're cleared to participate in athletic workouts. And so as long as they're cleared, they're good to come to workouts with us. And maybe they're just a person that's never done it, but they want to go through workouts. That's a great time to maybe get involved, or maybe they're thinking about trying out a sport or two. Yeah, it'd be a great time to get around some of the coaches and get to know us a little bit, and put a face to a name for us, and start building those relationships that way. So yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you mentioned physicals. We skipped a question earlier today that I think is pretty important. Do you know when two-a-days will start in the fall?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Two-a-days will start the first Monday in August. That's the general UIL rule. And this year that will fall on August 2nd. So Monday, August 2nd will be the first day of two-a-days. The week before, which is July 26th through July 30th, that's when we have our little Tiger football camp. And that's also where we try to get some of those kids fitted for helmets, fitted for shoulder pads. That way, when we're in the first week of two-a-days, we're not having to do that as well, because we'll be busy and tired and everybody's going to be a little bit grumpy. So that's a week that I would plan on trying to be here. If the kid's not here that week, then we end up getting them the next week or the first day of two-a-days anyways. But August 2nd will be that first start for football.
All right, good deal. So let's talk about physicals. Because of COVID, some things have changed, and you got new students coming into athletic programs. So what are the requirements for physicals this year?
So any athlete that's participating in any extracurricular, we just got to get a medical physical on record to make sure that they're, healthy enough to participate. And so what general rules are for a normal summer pre-pandemic would be every 2 years. So an incoming 7th grader, and then they don't have to get in an 8th grade year, an incoming freshman. They don't have to get it their sophomore year, and then an incoming junior. So you get one 3 times throughout your career. Well, we ran into this pandemic, lots of fun hurdles to jump. So what happened there was nobody was required to get a physical this last year unless they had something, crazy dramatic experience or injury, concussion, broken bone, torn ligament, surgery, stuff like that. So a lot of kids didn't have physicals last year. And so now it's kind of, you're usually on a staggered number, and now it's everybody. So everybody has to get a physical this year, because there's some kids who haven't had them in 3 years. And so they did that so that they didn't get overran and people in the hospitals during the pandemic and stuff like that. But now we all got to get one. And so another thing, still kind of a lag because of the pandemic and not wanting to get a whole lot of kids all in one area and do a one-day mass physical day. We are still going through Cogdell and doing our free physicals. So a kid can go get a free physical from Cogdell as long as they call and get an appointment. And then they tell them they're going to get a athletic physical for the school, and then the school will pay for that. So they don't have to pay for it. They can just tell them that way, but they have to have the proper paperwork. And so if they'll call up there, they'll be able to let them know exactly what they need to do and what forms they got to have filled out in order to get that done. Incoming 7th graders, they're going to need one all the way through juniors right now going into their senior year.
And those 7th graders need to have a physical before starting summer workouts. Is that correct?
Well, right. Yeah. So that's kind of that one grader. So all the 7th graders right now already have one. And so everybody pretty much above 7th grade, right? Or 7th grade above right now, they should be good. If you're a 6th grader, that's going to be a 7th grader and you want to attend workouts and never had a physical for us on file, you need to get that done through Cogdell. And then once you get that physical, then we will get it on file through our athletic trainer. Her name is Alex Marsh, and that way you'll be good to go. The one thing that we have to have in order to have a kid participate physically is their physical. And there's some other forms that we require, but we can get those. They're not just instantly urgent. So the other forms that they'll end up filling on Arbiter, they'll get an Arbiter account. We'll explain all that stuff to everybody, but the photo agreement, the handbook agreement, the medical history, all those forms that we still require through Arbiter, we'll still get those done, but the physical is the one thing that they have to have in order to come to summer workouts.
Okay, good deal. And
Dr. McLean, I was going to say too, I got this from Alex, that Cogdell will pay, or the school will pay through Cogdell up until July 31st. So
Yes,
that's the absolute end point as far as getting those paid for. And you can get the forms, the UIL forms. We've got them on our website as well at snyderisd.net/athletics, or they can pick up a paper copy in the athletic office.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And just to double down, better safe than sorry. What a lot of people do is I ain't gonna worry about it. I'll get one later. We've got a while. It never fails. There's not going to be an appointment available. I would do it as soon as possible. They're already booked up right now. I just sent out a sports U reminder today to a bunch of different groups. Hey, it doesn't just happen overnight. You need to plan on getting that. And I would call up there as soon as you can and get those things scheduled, just because you don't want to end up getting into your season, even if you're in junior high, and start a little bit later and not be able to participate the first week and then be that much behind because you didn't have your physical done. Yes, ma'am. Before August 1st.
All right, sounds good. So you mentioned, I think, I know you mentioned it earlier today, as far as some of the forms that parents have to sign and students have to, recognize, like an athletic handbook, and all of those forms are on the SnyderISD.net athletics page, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So SnyderISD.net /athletics will take you to all of our forms. Arbiter's kind of a whole entity. So it's divided up into entities, right? You're going to have your arbiter section. You're going to have your sports use section. You're going to have parent square. You're going to have all these different sections. You're going to have, these different kind of divisions of where they need to get things done. Arbiter itself has its own forms even within that. So when they go to, or when they make their arbiter account, we will get them in there, and then they're going to have to fill out, let's see here, I'm pulling it up right now, so I'm not giving them any false information. Let's see here. Well, computer's not pulling it up right now. But yeah, so there's I think 6 forms that they'll actually fill out through Arbiter as well once they and that's online. Okay, that's not hard copy forms. That's online through their Arbiter account, and that's actually where the parent and the student will sign off on those.
Okay, all right, good deal. So you briefly touched on this. I just want to kind of reiterate it because it was a couple of questions today. Students coming into 7th grade all the way to 12th grade have access to the summer workouts, but not mandatory. But you highly encourage them. Yeah.
So some summer workouts are not mandatory. We don't want to make anybody feel like you have to be here. If you're here, come to work out. But we also don't want you to feel like you don't have a summer. We don't want this to be a 12-month grind just all the time. We want to give you a little bit of a break. So if you got vacation, go ahead and do it. Just communicate. That's kind of our number one rule. Let us know where you are, so that way we don't think you're just skipping. And then the incoming kids, they're allowed to come as well. So if you're going to be a 7th grader, then we'd love for you to participate as well. It's just one of those things where you're going to have to get those physicals first.
Right. Okay. So we had a question earlier today about, is a student able to try out for a sport that they have never played before?
Absolutely. I love that question, because that means that people are interested. Right before I go to that, I finally got those forms up. So you got your UIL pre-participation physical. That's just what we have to clear you to actually participate. And that also includes a medical history form. So there's 2. The athletic participation forms just kind of goes over the standard expectations. The athletic handbook and photo agreement, that kind of goes over our policies and how we operate, what we do when you do something maybe you shouldn't have done, those types of things. And then an insurance form and a drug testing policy. So anybody that's in extracurriculars, wants to park on campus, those things, everybody has to sign up for a school board approved drug testing. But anyways, moving on. Sorry, that was kind of a side note. I finally got my computer up. Can a kid participate in another sport that they've never done or want to try? Absolutely. We highly encourage that. Our big goal is for all of our kids to understand that we need each and every single kid to help us be the best that we can be in every single sport, in every single extracurricular. And I mean, I'm going as far as debate, UIL, academic, UIL, anything. We want to be the best Tigers that we can be in everything we do. We want everybody to think, oh man, Snyder's here, this sucks. So in athletics, we have a lot of sports, and we want kids. There's very few sports that are team sports that overlap so much that it's really hard for you to do. One example of that would be maybe like trying to do soccer and basketball at the same time. Those are team sports where you really got to be at most of the practices. But other than that, there's a lot of situations where we can have kids do multiple things. We had 2 varsity baseballers right now that were varsity tennis players. That's what I did in high school. I did track and tennis. And so we want kids to do that. And we also want kids to know, like, yes, we don't want to ever encourage a culture of like thinking it's okay to quit. We don't want to build a culture of quitters. Like if you start something, we want you to finish it. But that's different if, I've always played a sport and all of a sudden I get in there and I just want to quit in the middle of it. No, that's a little different. We want you to finish, but if it's a situation it's like, I've never done this and I'd like to try it, come talk to us, communicate with us, and we'd love to try it out for you. Hey, we'll evaluate after 2 weeks or 3 weeks and say, hey, maybe this isn't for you, or maybe you're like, hey, I love this. I know I'm not that good, but I want to stick it out. And we'll just kind of get on the same page. We want kids to feel free enough and feel comfortable enough coming to us and saying, hey, I'd like to try it out, and maybe it'll be the best thing ever, and maybe it's not for me, but we'll communicate and make some mutual agreements and have those kind of conversations and build those relationships in order to give you the best chance to be successful and best chance to help us succeed as a Tiger athletic program.
And on the athletic page from SnyderISD.net, parents can see like a calendar with the actual tryout times as those are posted. I know probably not too many on there just yet for the fall, but for when tryout days are happening, parents will know.
Yeah, so tryouts. It kind of depends on what sport it is. I know like last year we ran into a situation where we only had so many uniforms at a junior high, on the junior high sport level, in one or two sports. But track, we want anybody and everybody that wants to run track to be able to participate. Football, we want anybody and everybody. There's not going to be a tryout for that. And if there are tryouts, for a different situation, sometimes that tryout, like if you're in high school, that tryout might be, okay, well, this is a tryout to make the varsity team. And if you don't make the varsity team, then that's fine. You're going to be able to find yourself a role on the JV team or on the freshman team. We don't want anybody to be discouraged because they don't want to give something a shot just because they think, oh, well, I might not make it, or I'm scared of the tryout. Come out and give it. You'll never regret it. Okay. And we're not here to discourage people from, striving and shooting for their dreams and wanting to try something new. That's what it's all about. That's what life's all about. So, yeah, come give it a shot, and we'll let you know if there are going to be tryouts. We communicate everything athletically through an app called Sports U. It's on that webpage as well, SnyderISD.net/athletics. You'll go to the Sports U section, and Valerie, I don't know, does it have the codes for different sports on there?
No, not yet. We can get them on there if we need to.
Cool. So if you'll download that app, and all you got to do is you can email me at that email, and I'll be able to shoot you any code that you want to join for any junior high or high school team. And then we'll look at I'll look at getting those different codes that sent out on the I say that I may not want to put those codes just out to the public because we only want our people on those. So it might be a better situation just to for you to be able to join those different teams specifically, either by contacting me or by contacting another person that's already on that team, maybe another athlete that your student athlete's friends with, or another parent that's already in that group. But anyways, we communicate through that app. And so we're always pushing out information to our kids and to our parents on there. And so, if we got tryouts, we'll make sure and try to get you all that information as soon as we possibly can, as soon as it becomes available.
Perfect. So you mentioned a couple of times about multi-sports and how overlapping seasons would work. So the athletic department wants to encourage students to play multiple sports, correct?
110% all the time. I'm recruiting all the time. I'm chasing a couple of kids right now that I know I know of a couple that pop up to the right top of my head. I'm like, man, you are dominant. You should be dominant in about 4 things. Christian Escobedo right now comes to the top of my mind. Christian Escobedo is a senior. Christian Escobedo is a district champion in cross country this year. Christian Escobedo goes and plays basketball as our starting point guard and a bi-district champion there. Steps into a role right after that, misses half the season in soccer or maybe more, and still contributes right away, helps contribute to a district championship and bi-district championship in soccer, turns around, wins all sorts of races and track for us, and goes to state and is a meter away from medaling at state. I mean, the epitome of what we want from our kids. Help us be the best that we can be, and don't we don't want to specialize in anything. If you look at any professional players, the mass majority of the people that get drafted, the mass majority of the best ones that they're out there, they didn't specialize. They really enjoyed participating in as many things as they possibly can. And the reason I think that is maybe you don't quite work on one craft that you think could make you better in one sport all the time. But what happens is you become more self-aware, your proprioception in different areas, putting yourself in uncomfortable situation, helping your coordination from different muscle groups and different things. It just helps grow those muscles. It helps grow those relationships. It helps the kids become better teammates. And it also just creates an overall competitive nature that, you know, you can take into life. It's not all about sports. We're going to be told that we can't play no more at some point, unfortunately, but that will carry over into life. It doesn't matter if you're in a job, family, whatever hats you're wearing, whatever balls you happen to be juggling, you're going to be able to succeed and be competitive to be the best you that you can possibly be. So we are huge supporters of multi-sport athletes.
Very good. Very good.
Hey, on that note, if anybody's ever encouraging you to specialize, give me a holler. We'll have a conversation.
Okay. Let me look at Tim Tebow. It's working out for him.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So our last question, we've got just 3 more minutes. So I am like marking off on the calendar, the countdown for football, huge football fan. So I can't wait for the season to start. So what are our plans for the fall and how are you preparing for our football season right now?
Well, our plans are to go out there and be as competitive as we can and win some games at every single level. We really are excited and loving the offseason that we've put together. We've really seen a big positive step for our culture overall. We've really got something good going on. We have, unfortunately, we've had, you know, a few bodies leave from a couple different grades, and we've also had a few bodies come out. And I think it's just a testament to the culture that we're building together. It's hard, and we have a high expectation. We push the kids really hard, but I hopefully, and I'm really confident that we're going to see the fruits of the labor. Right now, we have to juggle the situation that we're in. We're still rocking and rolling baseball, and I hope we go all the way to the end of May. But the thing about that is we got at the varsity level, we got quarterbacks that are gone. So the way that we have to juggle trying to do some spring ball practices during the period is a little bit more difficult. We do a little bit more defense right now, but we've kind of transitioned into that spring football segment where we're actually doing morning workouts. Some of you guys, I heard a parent the other day, like, why are we bringing these kids up here at 6:45 in the morning off season? And I get it, but the reason is because we're not going to pull off the reins on the off season. We're still going to constantly push agility, conditioning, running, and building the physicality for our athletes in all their sports. So we're still continuing to do that, but also providing ourselves the opportunity to get ready for next season. We'll have a lineman challenge for our big boys at the high school level. That'll probably only be one team. That lineman challenge is going to be in Abilene on May 29th. I said in the earlier session, June 11th is our Gym Ned 7-on-7, but I think we've had to adapt. I think we have school that day. And so I'm talking right now, that was the only state qualifying tournament that we could get into for 7-on-7. And so we may not be able to get into a 7-on-7 state qualifiers tournament this year. We have a practice 7-on-7 coming up this weekend, Saturday at 9 a.m. in Big Spring. And then we'll also have kind of a summer league Tuesday night deal where we're either playing here or in Big Spring, but we'll be pushing that information out to all of our kids in Sports U as well. So football's rocking and rolling. We're just as excited as you are, and I'm like you. I can't wait.
We did, parents can attend, right? We're good to go on the.
Absolutely. So lineman challenge 7-on-7. If you're on Sports U with us, if for some reason something was to change, I'll send that out to you, but I'm almost 100% positive they're going to encourage as much parent support and attendance as possible. So no, don't worry about that. And yeah, we'd love to see you guys out there supporting the kiddos and getting ready for another great year of some Tiger football.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it, Coach Wood, Valerie. We will be back next week on Tuesday at 12 and 5. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking in our Family Connections. Probably heard through the news media, there's quite a bit of federal funding that's being released to support schools and districts across the state of Texas. And we want to engage our stakeholders, our parents, and our community members as to how would be the most effective way to use those funds. And really, let's put COVID behind us and get on with our learning and our athletic plans. So I appreciated it. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate all you guys do behind the scenes. Thank you, parents. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.